Hey guys, how are you doing? Today I want to teach you a lesson in creating builds, because I'm tired of seeing bad sets in X rank or just in general, because it's really not that hard once you understand the basics. And I also want to save you from landing up on this page called bad Splatoon builds. And as we scroll through this, we see a lot of weird sets. Ooh, just talking from an experienced player's perspective. And another thing we see here quite often are these things called peers, where you have 4 times the same ability stacked upon one of the gears, either headgear, your shirt, or your shoes. And this is something I need and I want to talk about, because this is something that needs to be cleared up. This is a myth. Peers are not good. I repeat, peers are really not that good. And I'm also going to explain to you why. A weapon can't reach its full potential if you just have 3 types of abilities stacked up. This is not going to be good for the weapon. It may have some use, in some cases it might be a gimmick, but just generally talking, for the average player, this is really not good. And one thing I have to admit, there are a handful of abilities that are useful stacked up, and I've tried to rank them. At the very top we have main power up. This is useful for a lot of weapons such as K-Pro, Bamboo, Splash, L3, H3 or Dynamo, since it's increasing its damage and just is useful to have on at least one gear piece, so you don't have to waste more gears stacking up MPU on there as well. The next thing is run speed, as pretty much all splitting type weapons benefit from it. The third most useful ability to stack up on is quick respawn, as it helps Tetras, Tent, Blaster, Slaughter or Brushers just to come back faster after feeding in. Another thing you can possibly create at least one peer on is swim speed, mainly to counteract Ninja Squid on, for example, brushes or rollers, and in some occasions sploosh. And also this can be useful for the Rainmaker carrier on your team. 2 other abilities that I thought of might be useful to have appear off but aren't necessary are Ink Saber Sub. Paired with LDE, you're able to play double bombs on quite a lot of weapons, but the most common one would be Junior in this case. And then Main Saber. In my case, I didn't even complete the peer here, but it could help for ink hungry weapons such as Explo, Dynamo, and possibly E-Liter. With that out of the way, we're now ready to go over the 5 steps of creating your good build. First of all, we need a weapon. In my case, it is the mini Splatling, as I recently got to pick it up again and play it a bit more. It's fitting in our comms. And the next thing we gotta clear up is, what is the role of our weapons? What is the strength, the weaknesses we gotta consider when setting up the rest of the gear? For mini Splatling, it is a midline, a bit longer range support player, and with the weapon class, the weapon type, you're going to walk a lot as you charge up and then shoot. And this whole time, during the whole process, you're going to walk. And while you walk, you're likely to also step into enemy ink, which brings us to the third step in creating our build, choosing the abilities. So in my case, I want to run speed, I need ink resistance, and as for one of the builds, I want to use LDE to play zones and keep the paint output on our side. The fourth, and possibly one of the most important steps, is to use the resources that we have. And for that, we're going to head over to zendu.ink. And we're here on the builds menu. And we're going to search for mini splatling. There we have it. And it's now going to show us a bunch of different builds, and they're in some kind ranked, starting off with the builds that have top 500 entries. You'll see that with the little crown over here. And then you could also filter by certain abilities or a specific mode. And what we can see here, run speed is very common for this weapon. And the first one is actually what caught my eye the first time that I've looked this up. It has LDE, it has run speed, the ink resistance that we need, bump depth, and quick super jump, the other utility subs. And then something very interesting, sub power up. A ability you don't see too often, but has a lot of use, especially on this weapon. You have a burst bomb, which can deal 30 indirect damage or 60 direct damage. And with 2 subs of this ability, you have a 110% range of that. And for zones, this is very, very useful. You can just stand in the zone or like next to the zone and pressure the opponents away from even just entering your area by pressuring them with throwing bombs. And the other thing, that 1 sub of MPU gets you to 6 full charges. Gets you to a quarter of a second longer shooting once you've charged your shot. And this might not seem like a lot, just a quarter of a second, but considering games are just 5 minutes long, this gets to another level. Also, in zones, painting the square in the middle of the map for a quarter of a second longer might save you the game, might get you to KO the game and win it. So this build, how it is, I'm just going to copy that. And this is totally fine. You don't have to come up with completely new ideas. It's totally fine if you see a more than solid build also from a top 500 player and go with it. You can just straight up copy it. No one can brag about it that you're not original. So this is one I want to copy and that I want to use. But I also want to show you what you do if you're not exactly sure if you want to just straight up copy it. Because I want also a second mini build, which is not for zones and rather for the other 3 modes. So we're going to get rid of LDE and rather pick up special charge, something that benefits mini from, as it has missiles, one of the strongest specials in the current meta. And we also have builds with special charge here, but I'm not comfortable running them. From what I've tested around with myself, I'm going to adapt to them, but add a little note from myself. So we're over here to the analyzer, pick mini, and now we want run speed. We want our 2 subs of ink resistance. We want bump defense up. We want another main of run speed. Then quick super jump. So we have our utility subs out of the way. And then we gotta think, what else do we need here? And I think I want to run the 1 sub of main power up just to get something more out of my charge. And then 1 sub of main saver. And what this does is get us to 6.06 full charges, which is, as we compare it, more than usual. So we have 6 full charges to work with, not just 5. Then 1 main ability is going to be for special charge. And now we see here 193 points, which is good, but not enough. So we'll add another sub, which brings us just beneath 190. So we're now 20 points below the original special count on this weapon. And for the rest, we now have 2 more sub abilities left, which we can use as it's a mini splatling, as it's a splatling type, to put in 2 more subs of run speed. So now we're a good bit faster than normal. Which some players also do is put in 1 sub of swim speed, but from my experience and perspective, this is like not enough use from just 1 sub. So I'll just stick to these 2 sub abilities. And now, the last and final step, after we've put some thoughts and used our resources, is to just build the gear. And for that, we need ability chunks, and often a lot of them. And so I'm just gonna quickly show you the fastest ways to get them. And the most common is to just play Salmon. And we'll just head to the square for a second. Because in Salmon you get rewards for playing. And after you've played your, not daily, but your shift amount, like the 1200 points, you can head over to this counter and ask for a bonus. Oh, I even have some. And now you just get to collect them, and you either get cash if there are no sub abilities on there, but you can also, in this case, swap for chunks, so that we now have 1 more QR sub, and you can just continue this process over and over and again. And in some cases, like these, you get 3 whole sub abilities. And if you play Salmon frequently, this is going to add up very, very fast. After we're done, I can show you my page again. Like, I have collected a lot of this. So I would be in the position to just straight up build the gear I've set up. But another way to get to chunks is just hop onto online games and just play it. Either turf or league, not ranked, please, this is annoying. And you can use drinks from Krusty Scene over here. Go to the drink menu and you can choose from whatever ability you want to level or what you want to get. And it also helps you with gear, because every brand on the gear favors a certain ability, and luckily for us it shows us right here. So if you're in the need of special power up, you're going to use a gear from Forge or Zekao or whatever here is, and with that you're free to go. You now pretty much everything to set up a good gear for yourself, and I hope that this helped you. If you have further questions, just let me know in the comments and I'm happy to help you out. And I hope you like it. If you do, make sure to like and subscribe, share the video with other players to spread awareness so we get rid of all bad builds and have good fights in the future. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.